What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BK Stank. I'm Brendan Kennedy. Today we're back to doing beer stuff. Hopefully gonna get back to the gym and post some more workout vids. So today we're gonna be talking about something that a lot of people probably saw the title of this video and they immediately said, "Oh, I don't know if I Colt 35. Why would you even? But I think there's something to be said about this. I think it's an interesting kind of experiment. Back in the day, one of my several jobs that I used to have before, obviously I started video blogging, was I used to work for a beer and wine distributor. So when I worked for a beer and wine distributor, I went to all kinds of neighborhoods. I got to meet all kinds of people. I got to meet people who maybe are on the lower side of the income scale. I used to go into some of the scariest neighborhoods in this area, and they're not that scary during the day. I always thought about the city of Portsmouth kind of like a werewolf movie. If you stay on the main roads and you don't travel after dark, you're going to be fine. Portsmouth isn't that scary during the day, unless you're racist and you're afraid of black people. So when I worked for a beer and wine vendor, one of the things that I sold was Colt 45. The style of malt liquor actually started off as a premium product aimed at upper class markets because I guess it had a little bit more alcohol in it. And then over time, the product slowly began being marketed more toward African Americans, black people. I feel weird saying that. Everybody remembers Billy D. Williams as the mascot of Colt 45. It was something that I had never touched. I remember even when I was in college, I would save up change that I found, collect it in a big jar, and then at the end of the week I would take all of the quarters and go to the local gas station and buy myself that 140 because that was all I could afford, and it was amazing to me the fact that I could actually buy alcohol. Colt 45 is what we're talking about today. I was planning on waiting to take that sweatshirt off, but it's actually getting kind of hot in here wearing a sweatshirt. But even when I was buying 40s, I would never actually think about getting Colt 45. There was just something that kind of seemed a little bit off about it. I don't know, it never appealed to me. And then one day, when I was working for our beer and wine distributor, we had a meeting and the corporate reps from Colt 45 came and they brought ice coolers full of ice cold Colt 45. They insisted during the meeting that we try it. And the consensus was, it's not that bad. Which was the funniest idea, to think that a company would have a meeting, bring in all of their salespeople, and then say, hey, try this. It's not completely shitty, right? People could drink this, conceivably. And this is the bottle. I wanted to show you guys. Now, this drinking vessel is one of those glasses that I told you guys before that I really like, where there's this kind of like bell shape that allows all the aromas to really develop and, you know, just fits right in your hands. Not using that today. Today, we're using a plastic bag. Now this vessel is very hard to find in the state of California. We're going to put the 40 into the plastic bag, and what this does is insulates it so it doesn't get warm, because warm is the enemy of Colt 45. So now is the part of the video where I try some Colt 45. Listen for it. I love that sound where you take the aluminum bottle top off and it doesn't have that much carbonation, but you just hear the aluminum kind of crack like an old man's arthritic knee. So I smell this and immediately it just takes me back to cold nights sitting on my friend's porch, thinking to myself, man, I can't wait until the good days when I don't have to drink this shit anymore. Also, you get like kind of almost like if you ever microwaved like canned corn, obviously not in the can, but you know, when you put it into a bowl and microwave it, there's that smell. So it's kind of like a sweet corn flavor and lots of carbonation. Already smells a little stale, but not a whole lot of hop essence coming through at all. And now, for the most important part, the taste. It's actually very mild. You get like a little hint of that malt, of like a barley malt thing happening. There's mostly the kind of flavor of corn and rice. That sounds kind of weird to say, but when you taste a Bud Light, that's, I feel like, mostly what you're tasting there. All that corn and rice, the adjuncts that are being used in the brewing process. And with very little hop bitterness, hops are kind of like, they can be like brakes. So if you're drinking a beer and it's really, really hoppy, it is really hard to chug a really hoppy beer. Like, I love an IPA, but an IPA, you gotta like sip it and take your time with it. This, it doesn't have any of that. You can pretty much drink it as quickly as you would like. This is one of those things where there's nothing bad going on, but there's nothing good happening. Like, if it had maybe a little bit more like roasted barley in there, where it had been kind of roasted enough to kind of caramelize it and give it a little bit more malt complexity, that would be really cool. And be like, wow, there's enough happening with this beer where it doesn't automatically shine through as being bad. You don't taste this and immediately want to vomit. I've had some malt liquor before where you taste it and you immediately hate everything that's happening in your life. And maybe that's one of those societal things where you taste it and you're like, okay, I gotta make some changes in my life. But this actually isn't bad. Let's go ahead and give it a pour. Now this looks exactly the same in the bottle as it does in the glass. It's actually a nice little amount of head there. The color here, it's pretty much like if you were making a movie and you needed a prop beer and you said, what color is beer? Yes, I don't know, kind of like a piss yellow. So I seem to be burning through this 40 at a pretty good clip. Okay, maybe I don't need to drink it that quickly. So this is definitely not a great beer. There's not a whole lot of like interesting yeasty stuff happening. Like I said, you don't really taste hops. Malt flavor, you're not really tasting any barley. You're not really tasting much at all other than corn and alcohol. It's not necessarily easy to make a beer with this little flavor and the balance of flavors that it does have. So whoever made this, they put a lot of effort into making a beer with very little notable hop, malt, yeast, water flavor. And I think there's something interesting about that. Alright guys, this has been the BK Stank. Thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Brendan Kennedy. If you like this, please subscribe. If you have some comments, some feedback, some suggestions, let me know what kind of videos you want me to make. If you want to see more gym videos, put it in the comments. If you want to see more beer videos, put it in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Cheers.